everyone. Welcome to Rhythm and Roads podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. We have a very special guest. We have recording artist, Era Snow. Welcome, Era, to Rhythm and Roads podcast.
Hello, glad to be here. And the sun's
Yeah.
here now too, just
Right?
right on time.
In time. Look at that. So, Era, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I know you're very busy, but I've listened to your songs and it's very, very beautiful music. It's just very just uplifting. It's very just soothing, angelic. It just puts me in a nice vibe of just relax and chill.
Oh,
So,
thank you. Thank you. I
welcome.
appreciate that.
But like we all want to know the story behind Era Snow of how it all started with season one, episode one. So,
Right, season one, episode one.
of Era
So
Snow.
yeah, I have been doing music my whole life. My grandmother is a singer-songwriter.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, kind of folky stuff.
Nice.
And yeah, very like earth-centered and women's empowerment
Oh,
centered.
nice.
Um, so, just growing up, I was very interested in music
Hmm.
from the get-go. So I don't really have memories of the beginning of my relationship with music. It's more through
Okay.
stories from my grandparents and my parents.
Hmm.
I actually was just talking about one of them with my grandmother because I'm helping, with there's been some like health stuff going on, and so I've been staying with them a lot
Hmm.
and helping out in any way I can. But which has been so beautiful to be with them. And I got home, and she's like, "Oh, come back here and watch this." And uh, it's like The Voice or American Idol or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah.
And this guy is auditioning, and he's singing, I think it's George Strait. There's like a song called The Fireman or something.
Oh, okay.
And so this guy is performing that, but she was showing me and laughing because one of the like first songs I wrote, I was like itty bitty, and I had heard that song, and I started writing this like response song, and I was like, they call him a cow or the fireman, but we don't know why they call him the fireman because there's no fires. And like just this silly goofy thing, but just that kind of first story of
Yeah.
me like writing a song and trying it out myself. And
I'm not a
so yeah,
fireman.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, they were always just very encouraging of that, and she would write down my songs and things, and print
Yeah.
them out all official.
Wow. What a cool grandma.
Yeah, for real, for real. um so yeah, just very nurturing environment for music.
Mm,
And so yeah, I've just been doing it my whole life. I've been gigging
nice.
for about 10 years now. Before that, it was mostly just like talent shows and open mics and stuff,
That's
um,
cool. Yeah.
as a kiddo.
Good way to start, huh?
Exactly, exactly.
So,
And that era Snow came out of,
yeah.
um, I just had some previous works associated with like my full name, and then
Oh, okay.
um, I tried one with like my first and middle name, and then it eventually ended with the end of my first name and my middle name. So my full name is Sierra, so the era, and then my middle name is Snow, so just
It
Era
just
Snow.
flowed like that. Just like
Yeah.
magic just appeared and you're like, there it is.
I just like woke up one night, I was like, Era Snow.
Yeah, oh, that too. Yeah. It's on the right
No,
on the
actually,
wall. Yeah. You're
yeah,
like, oh my God, there it is.
right. It was actually like a joke for a while, like with my friends.
Mm.
Would, it was my joke musician name. And so we would have this little bit, don't you know who this is? This is Era Snow. And I'd be like, I am Era Snow. And just like making
Uh,
fun of
you're
like
right, right.
myself. But it ended up just being like, you know what, actually that kind of,
It worked out, right?
yeah,
Be like, do you
exactly.
know who Arrow Snow is? I do. I
Oh.
do. Oh, cool. Yeah.
That's hilarious. hilarious.
That's cool. I'm glad it worked out in the end for people to be like, I do.
Yeah, there's a
That's
few
cool.
of these out there
Well,
that
I just
people.
want to say congrats on 10 years on doing just using your talent, creating music, and just inspiring the masses. So awesome
Oh,
job.
thank you.
Yeah. And thank you, Grandma, for just helping you discover your craft and your singing and your passion. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I feel super lucky, because a lot of families and just people in general
Yeah.
will think of, like, oh, well, that's a cool hobby. And, but
Yeah.
what's your real dream and what do you really want to do?
Right.
Um,
That does happen.
yeah, so I'm glad that I didn't have as much of that conditioning to
Mm.
work through.
Well, real quick, I do want to ask you, was there ever any setbacks at all before you actually launched Era Snow? So maybe some questioning, maybe there was some, close people in your life, friends, something that just, maybe you were like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Was there ever a roadblock in your life?
Hmm. I think this has always been what I saw myself doing and
Yeah.
never unsure about like the actual doing of it.
Okay.
Um, when it comes to maybe success or, and what my view of that is, and
Mhm.
like if I would be doing it, job versus hobby, for
Mhm.
example.
Okay.
Um, so I knew that I would always be doing and making music and stuff for as long as I was like physically able to. But I definitely, I went to school and like undergrad and got my degree and
Oh, good for
started.
you. Wow.
Yeah, and so I was, starting that path of like, okay, this is, what do I really want to do? What do I
Mhm.
want to do for real? Because even though my family was very nurturing, just growing up in general, and I was very like academic as a kid, and so I had these different kind of realistic paths to
Right.
follow, and I started um, kind of following through with that and thinking about what I wanted to do for grad school, um, and all the while I was doing music on the side, but I I actually had some like not so fun little mental episodes.
Uh-oh.
Some I think I'm a big believer that a lot of artists and creatives have to pay for the creativity and a little bit of crazy
Mm.
in one area or another. Um, and so yeah, I had these couple bouts of moments where I was like, oh, I can't hold a job in this kind of way.
Mm.
And so it kind of forced me to like turn to music,
Wow.
which music was always going to be like my hobby, like I said, but it was just kind of ended up being the only thing that didn't make me go into another realm.
You're
and
right. Yeah.
um and then I was experiencing some tough like mental blocks, and then I lost someone that was very close to me,
Oh.
and um, it was kind of so it wasn't moments of questioning the music. It was more these like things that I can look back that really made me turn more and more towards music.
Right.
Um, and and so I was going through like a grieving process, and luckily had music to like sustain myself.
Mhm.
And then I started working again at a coffee shop, and loved that. I love working at coffee shops so much. I
Oh,
wanted to
man.
go like forever, like in little bits throughout my life, because
Yeah.
I love coffee.
I love coffee too.
Yeah.
I love the
It,
smell of it too. I wish I could. I
oh
wish
my
there was a
gosh.
cologne of coffee, like coffee by Bean.
No,
I'd
exactly.
be wearing it and be like, oh, smell good.
I'd be like coffee shampoo,
Yeah.
give me everything.
Beard
Um,
coffee, put it on oil. Beard,
right. Yeah, the beard
beard oil,
oil,
coffee,
face cream, the
coffee
eye
by Bean.
bag cream, the
I just love it.
freshener, like instead of like mint. Yeah, I like want my breath to smell like coffee. I'm
Yes, yes. I'd be like, hold on. Ooh, I feel like I need a Starbucks after.
uh
Oh
that
man, but
too
yeah,
to Starbucks.
uh,
Um, but yeah, so I started like working again because again it was still that mindset of like
yeah,
you do music and you have your real job.
right.
Um, but then it finally got to a point where I was having to like ask off of work
Mm,
so much for gigs. And I was like, wait, this is actually like, because I'd be stressed out about it, you know, where I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to like let my coworkers down and stuff. And I was like, wait, I'm having to ask off too much because I'm getting gigs. And
mm,
so it was this like moment where I was like, this is the point where I quit my job and I do gigs.
yep.
And so I like it was a little bit, but I think honestly at that point I was like pretty tired. So it was like not that big of I was just like, okay, quit my job, twist my arm.
Right. Like, okay, it worked
Yeah,
out.
done.
Yeah.
And also like the manager and owner there was just like so supportive of, and he would also like book me to play there.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
yeah, so just like
Nice.
shout out the bean, Mickey. But he, you know, so I'm like such a people pleaser. So I was like a little nervous, you know, about like quitting for like a reason, because I've never really quit a job unless it's like, oh, like I'm moving or like I
Right.
can't, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was so nervous, but he was like so supportive and was like, "This is awesome for you." So
Great
that was,
support. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, a theme, a lucky theme in my life. But yeah, it's surrounded by support. My family wasn't like, "What the hell are you doing? Don't quit your job." You know,
Right.
it's like, okay, like word.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, then that was in 2022 or 2021.
Okay.
Um, that I quit my job and that's when I first started doing music full time.
Awesome. Wow. That is so cool. And I want to say just good job in not letting like fear stop you. You know what I mean? Like the self-doubt of like, oh, but if I quit my job, I don't know if I get another months of bookings. You
Right.
know, this is a steady job where I could always get a check every 2 weeks and I know it's there when I don't know who's gonna reach out and book me. But man, that's so cool that you just took that leap of faith. You took a risk and you're like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. This is my calling. This is my
Yeah.
dream. Here's my apron. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Oh, hold on. Let me get take a coffee to go. You grabbed your coffee to go and you said, thank you so much for this opportunity, but I'm going on my road here to my dream,
Yeah.
to my
Yeah.
calling.
For
So
sure.
awesome. Well, I just first want to say just thank you so much for sharing your story. What an incredible story. This should inspire artists out there just to say, hey, if you have that nudge that certain what you know doors are opening, it's because it's for a reason. If
Oh,
you're getting if
100%.
you're
Yeah.
getting, calls for gigs, you're getting hired to do shoots more than usual, that's a sign that there's an open door coming in your life for
Definitely.
you to make this full time.
Yeah. And I think like I'm just such a firm believer and it's never too late for
It's
things and it's
never too
never
late.
late. And like also it's just so like we're so obsessed sometimes with like success, right? And like but it really is this thing of just like whether or not you could be successful in it isn't really like a good thing to even think about whenever it comes to like if you should do it or not. When you're thinking of if you should do it or not, it should be, do I want to do this? And if you are called to do something, even if it's just a curiosity thing, even if you've never tried it before, but it's like, so what? We are on this rock in space floating around. Like, try it. Like,
Right? Like you're not gonna die.
yeah. Oh my
Like,
God. All of us, every single one of us, you, me, every single person that watches this video,
right,
and every person that they talk to the day that they watch the video, all of us,
right.
dead. Try it.
Try it. There should be some new stickers you can bring to your show. Try it.
Try it. And then I'm just going to put it on people's foreheads.
There you go. Put it on their bumper card too without them knowing.
We have a visitor. Hold
Oh, we have
on.
a viz. Oh, wow. Special guest. Sweet.
Special guest.
All right. Let's. Whoa. Special guest. Who is this?
This is Honey. This is my dad's dog, and he just let her out. And she's just
Oh, so cute. Hi, honey.
the funniest little thing. Anyways,
Wow. We really had a special guest on the podcast.
Honey, would you like to say anything? I don't know if
Oh,
you heard, but
that
she
was a
didn't
lot.
burp.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Very good points, honey. Oh, hi,
That's very
princess.
cute.
All right. I think that's all. Is that all? All right. Well, thank you for visiting, honey. You went down? So that's what she has to say about that.
Yeah, that's really inspiring, man. We're just gonna have to
Yeah.
end the podcast now because after that, I can't. We
I
can't
don't
top
really
that.
know if there's anything that I could say after what she just said that would really
Yeah, how
hit
can you top
points at
that?
this time.
Like,
Yeah.
I should be saying I'm gonna apologize and be like, I'm sorry that I even want to continue this interview without honey. So
Yeah, honestly, you should just cut it. Like, just be like,
that's yeah.
thank you guys for joining. We
Just
are
thank you know
sitting
what? Thank
here
you so much. I
today.
cannot top what just honey just said, and we're
Right,
not gonna disrespect honey. So
right.
peace.
We're done. That's it.
That's funny. Oh, thanks for bringing her on. That was cute. Was the Troubled Bones? Was that your first EP?
Yes, that was.
Ooh. What's the story behind that? And what's interesting about the title too? Troubled Bones.
Troubled Bones. Yeah, a funny thing with me is that I love kind of like sad lyrics, dark, heavy
Ooh,
lyrics, pretty dramatic, like Troubled
yeah,
Bones. That's
right.
so dramatic. Um, my family would always make fun of me because I'd be like in middle school and I'd be like, "Your, your words stab me in the heart with a knife when you broke my heart," and they're like,
Uh,
"What?" Um,
wow. Thanks for the Christmas card.
yeah, yeah. Um, but Troubled Bones that is such an old album to me because it was released, I think, in like 2021, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But
I just saw 2020 on Apple Music.
2020. Okay, then it's 20.
I mean, if it's 21, cool.
My years are all messed up. Okay, 2020. Um, but like most of the recordings on it, and like I started that album when I was in high school. So that
Whoa.
was, yeah. So
Talk
that
about going
was,
back in time.
yeah. So I had been recording it, and it was my first experience in like an actual like studio recording an album.
Yeah,
And I I was a little baby, and I also like am not musically educated like in any form of like classical or traditional way with like I've never taken guitar classes or singing lessons. I don't know how to read music. Like I so I was so young and very like not well versed in all of that talk when it
okay.
comes to recording. Um, so I had a really difficult time with that album, and and I was working with a man who had been working in that field for like multiple times that I had been alive. Um, and there was just a disconnect in communication, and you know, not so much on his part or anything, but just me being such a young artist and so new at it. I think it does probably take a little bit more effort to like reach down that low and be like, hey, like this is what we're doing, and like what do you, you know. So it was almost like this language barrier
Mm,
where it was becoming this thing that I wasn't wanting it to be, but I couldn't communicate in words that he could understand.
I see. Okay.
And so it was this frustration of like, God, like this is my first album,
Mhm.
and I can't communicate what I want it to sound like, and I'm watching it turn, I'm listening to it turn into something.
Mm,
So I just grew so like I would, at
yeah.
the
And that
sessions
was
I'd just be
hard.
like,
Mm.
crying on my way home. And so I quit. Um
Wow. Really?
so I quit and I just was like like I can't do this right now. Oh, because I started working on it like I went to college in the middle of this now. So now I'm
Okay.
in college
Yeah.
and I'm driving back and forth because it's a commute to go
Mhm.
record. So I'm like in college and I'm also like gigging and I'm also trying to like record this album. So that's when I quit. I was just like,
Okay.
this is, because I was like, I'm putting this work into something and I hate the way that it sounds. So like, I quit.
Pretty good.
And then dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
the hero of the theme, I guess, my grandmother.
right.
Um,
Cool
she
grandma.
right, she comes in again, and she kept, she would ask me about, so are you gonna start recording again? Because I told everybody I was like, I'll take a break, but I was just like, I was done. I was like, I'm
You're a
never gonna
dream.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I no, I thought that I was really quitting,
Yeah.
but I didn't tell anyone. I just like I'm taking a break. So
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah. But in your mind, you're pretty much like, nope, I'm out.
yeah, yeah. My mind is like, we're done. But yeah, so
Yeah.
she just kept asking, and I'd be like, yeah, like maybe eventually. But finally, she reached out and she was looking at people in Las Cruces because I the main excuse I used for people was the commute was too much because
Ah.
I wasn't really talking about like the emotional side of things. So I was just like, well, it's just too much to drive and stuff. So she was like, I found
Too
someone
much
in,
traffic.
yeah, right, in New
Too much car
Mexico. Like
accidents. Yeah. Too
where's
much
the traffic?
construction on the highway.
Right. And it was only there when I was on the road and then it went away and you probably can't find it anywhere on the news. It was like very random, like hush hush, but it
Mm.
was there and it's too much.
Right.
Um but yeah, so she found somebody in Las Cruces that was like engineer and producer and stuff. And she was like, just meet with him. Just meet with him. I set up an appointment and like just see if you guys vibe well, tell him about the project. You don't have to go with him, but like why not? So I met up with him
Hmm.
and we clicked very well and
Nice.
he so we started working together on it. A thing about me, if you haven't already noticed, is I can tell a long story. But so
Hey, I
basically,
love it. I just wish I had coffee. I'm all like, oh, where's my receipt? This is the good
but
stuff.
yeah, basically just we we hit it off. I was like, okay, I'll work on this with you. We got all the files sent over, and then at that point, it was kind of just like fixing the album
Okay.
and doing the best that we could because a lot of the files that were sent over to us were baked, and not the good kind of baked. They were like bleeding onto each other. I don't know because again, like I said, I don't know anything about that, but
Okay.
something was up with them where we couldn't really like re-record any parts. So it was just kind of like, but it was cool to go through and then to see some like the difference. Like I'm so glad that that experience happened because I saw like the difference between like experiences that you can have in that realm.
Hmm.
And like I let myself go through this thing where I was really beating myself up and I was really like, oh, like you're not able to communicate this, you're dumb, like you're such a amateur, you don't even have the right to be recording. But then with this new experience and being like, oh no, like I just need to find someone who can talk in my language and like spend a little bit extra time to like, because they don't have to do that and they get paid big bucks. This other guy, like, no shade to him, but I know that me personally, I need someone that is going to be able to reach down and like, for example, like there was a drum in Troubled Bones, but it's like this, it's one like boom
Hmm.
and I wanted the dong there, right?
Yeah.
But even there with that word, like, what does that mean? It's not real music terminology. And And so we're looking through all of these drums and different sounds and stuff, and I would, be telling this guy where I'm like, all of these drums sound like this, and I want it to sound like this.
Mm, okay.
And so for him, he's like, they're just fucking moving their arms all around trying to tell me about this song that they want, like this drum that they want. And I was just like, with the other guy, and he's like, "Oh, okay, so this is what like a sound wave looks like, and this is what this part is called." And when you're talking about like, and so just meeting me there, meeting me where I'm at. Um and so yeah, we fixed what we could, and it was a really cool experience. And then releasing it, and I did have like a little release party, and
Cool.
it felt all
Yeah.
legit and cute. And
I'm glad you did. I mean, you deserve it after hard work and on that project.
yeah, it was a really good lesson. And I called it Troubled Bones because I love bones and dead things. And my album artwork that I did for it was I was in this rut of like I couldn't stop painting skeletons, and so I
Oh,
had this work and I wanted to use it.
yeah.
And so I had a song that was called Troubled Bones, and so I was like, okay, this will be the song for the album artwork. And yeah, Troubled Bones is just about um kind of, it's like a love song to someone who is more of like an avoidant type. And in the song I'm singing to this person, but it's very funny because as I grow up, I don't sing it very often because it is harder for me to like connect with those songs from that album because of the harder parts of it. But
Right.
anytime I do sing that, it's so funny because sometimes it feels like I was writing it to my future self.
Ooh,
Um, but
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing about the troubled bones. And what an interesting story. Wow. That's very true though. You want someone who can relate to your language and what you're expressing of the love of your music.
right,
Not just we're just here to create and that's it. And there you go. It's like, no, take your time, get different insights from different musicians. And when you find that moment of just like, that's it, that's where the
right.
magic happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's awesome. Back to where we're at now.
Hmm.
The Sailor. I take it that's your recent release.
I actually released something just
Oh,
recently
just
after
oh,
that
okay,
because
okay.
I'm just so random with it. I'll go like 2 years between it, and then I'll be like 2 in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
cool.
but yes, the Sailor, because the one I released afterwards is an audio for a video that I did earlier. So
Oh,
technically,
okay.
the Sailor, it's not my latest release, but it's my latest recording.
Recording. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that tie into the Blood Blisters Bodysuits Dragonflies?
So that, yeah, that's the
Wow,
one
what a
that I
cool
just
title.
recently released, and that one is the audio from my submission that I did for Tiny Desk.
Oh,
Or
cool.
and so yeah, I just grabbed the audio because my friend Lena she was like, I want the audio, like I want to be able to listen to it, and so I
Yeah.
was like, okay, so I just put the
Just like that. All right, cool.
for that.
Sweet. Well, I have checked out your music. I mean, I've looked on Apple Music. I take it you're on Spotify, all the streaming.
Mhm.
So it's just, yeah, you really have that really talented, unique, it's just chill music. And I like that at times where I just want to chill. I'll listen to
Mhm.
certain songs. And so when I listen to yours, I was like, wow, it really does chill you out. It relaxes you, your lyrics, it's very deep. And I like that. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Well, before we end the podcast, because I know this flies so quickly, you're just like, wait, I want more. Like,
I know, and I'm such a yapper,
no,
so
I love it. I mean, you just share really good stuff. I'm just like, oh man, I wish I had more time. But where can the viewers find you on social media, the streaming platforms? So,
yeah, I am on, I think, all the streaming platforms for music.
okay,
If you look up Era Snow, ERASNOW, 2 words. Um, I'm on Instagram. I have a Facebook, but I don't really know how to use Facebook. So it's not very updated. I feel like the only updates are like my dad and my grandma, or you
Okay.
know. Um, so have one, don't use it. I have a website that I do post. I sometimes my dates where I'm at. I primarily post my like gigging dates on Instagram,
Okay.
but I'm trying to get better at making it more accessible to people who don't use Instagram.
Mhm.
Um, so I do have a website, erasnowmusic.com, and that has you know, my schedule. It has some links to all my stuff, some photos, some blog posts. It's got a
Nice.
whole bunch of everything. Um,
Cool.
and I also have been starting to post little like or not covers, little bits of my originals to like TikTok
Oh, have you?
um,
Okay.
there as well. I'm findable. If you're wanting to like listen to songs,
Yeah.
I've got more things there than anything else.
Well, awesome. Well, we look forward to your new music coming out, hopefully in the future, new
Yes.
songs that you're writing and
Yes.
exploring. Yeah. And also I hopefully we can meet in person. I would love to go to one of your shows. Hopefully there's one later this month or next month, but yeah, so
Yeah, definitely. I'll be playing now that it's getting warmer. I'll be playing more. So,
more
um,
outdoors.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, just
um,
right there's a night setting right there where you're at. I'm
I
like,
know.
hey, why
Shit,
not just grab a
everybody come over
guitar
here. We
and
can
put a
have a
mic
show
and just
here.
play right there?
Yeah,
Be like, here's a
exactly.
live podcast stream of a live music right here.
That would be amazing,
That'd be cool,
actually.
right? Well, well, thank you, Eric Snow, for coming on Rhythm and Roads podcast. Such a pleasure to hear your story, to see the journey from where you started to where you're at. And I mean, it's such an inspiring story. The fact that you really just went on the calling and said, I'm leaving this job because there's plenty of signs that this is for me. And that's what's really what's about. It's okay to take risks. It's okay to if you see the doors opening, open the door and follow it. Because that
Right.
is your calling. That could be your calling.
Right, exactly. Do it.
Do it, yeah. Look for the stickers in the future at Aerosnow's concerts. She's gonna have her stickers that
Get
said,
your merch. Stay on the lookout.
"That's right." Well, thank you, Aerosnow. I really appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.